Smells of Christmas.
It does smell of Christmas. And then, so this is Joe here. He's a busy church warden here at Holy Trinity Church in Swallow. So we're going to let him carry on for 5 minutes. We're going to have a little tour around and then we'll go have a little quick chat about the history of the church. And you can see what a lovely church it is here. Holy Trinity.
It's got wrong dates on it.
Unfortunately, we've come to the time now where the sun is going down outside. And the stained glass windows don't really do them justice. The light that cascades through. It's a very beautiful church window, that. Christ there giving his sermon. Dedicated into the memory of James Edmund Wallace. He was the rector of this parish from 1880 to 1909. And Margaret Jane, his wife, was erected by the children in memory of them. Red volume, stained glass window there. Got these pretty impressive archways here. Like 3. You got Christ up there. Maybe a picture of a crucifixion. Pretty impressive. Intricate carving here. Some marble. Been restored during the James Fowler period of him restoring churches across the Lincolnshire. The altar here. There's a lot of Christmas decorations up with it being so close to Christmas. And Joe over there, we'll talk to in a minute, has been busily preparing for the holidays. See there's a depiction of the crucifixion there. And some Roman soldiers. There's like a Jewish rabbi there. That breastplate's very intriguing. So this breastplate on here normally has 12 precious stones in to commemorate around the 12 tribes of Israel. So Christ is barefoot as well, a bit like myself now. Where the Romans have got some kind of leather footwear. Regalia. Very beautiful. This is to the Church Warden Joe. Who's Your family's been attached to the church for quite a number of years.
Yeah, my grandmother was church warden for 16 years.
16 years.
And I think I've been church warden now for the last 10.
7 years.
Maybe.
Must be very passionate about the church here and obviously the history. So it's fantastic to come because we visit so many churches across the area. A lot of them are closed now, unfortunately, especially due to the pandemic. And then obviously people dying as well and losing their interest in the religion and the faith and beliefs, which is quite sad. And a lot of them, they're just open, but they're beyond like a state of disrepair. Some of them we've come across. We have had a few lucky circumstances where there's been people like yourself present that's on hand to talk about some of the features in the church and the history. So it's a pleasure to meet you, Joe. Did you say there's Edwardian, the stained glass windows?
The south window was put in 1909 in memory of the vicar, so it's that window there.
This one here was James Edmund Wallace.
Yes. The east window was actually fitted in 1883 for the Fowler family, who I believe sadly now died out.
No. James Fowler.
James Fowler. They had the Grange for a very long time. In fact, they was just across the new A46, and they had it from the early part of the 20th century right up until 1974.
Wow.
So they were long-term tenants.
Because I tried doing some research on him and I couldn't find if he was married or not, and then obviously Wikipedia, it had really nothing about his life on it. It was only digging through archives in Life Museum. It mentioned that he had a wife, he had 2 children, sadly one of them passed away, and the remaining child carried on his father's footsteps and became an architect in his own right.
Well, James Fowler rebuilt this end of the church, the east end.
So just this end was standing
I think he did a few other bits, but we do know this is purely Fowler's work. Right. We have a drawing of the church taken in 1800, showing before Fowler started Fowlerising things.
Yeah.
And then we've actually got a photograph taken more or less a year it was completed.
Because I know although he was doing all this fantastic restoration works, he was kind of, I don't know...
he was a bit of a vandal.
Yeah, he vandalised, he ripped a lot of unnecessary original features out of church.
I mean, one of the things I do know James Fowler hated was box pews.
Box pews.
He hated them with a vengeance, and most of them got ripped out. We haven't got any at all. We've got Victorian ones because he ripped them out. The other thing he did is hire the nave roof back to its original height, and then he extended the tower. I think he rebuilt the north side, at least improved on the north side. Most of the original features, say the Norman part of the church, is the base of the tower and the font. We think he reshaped the font into that peculiar shape.
Obviously, some of the churches we've been to, they've had the fonts ripped out, and people have found them in a house garden down the road, and then they've had to come back into the church. So do you think that he may have sold them on the black market back in the Victorian
Probably,
age?
we'll never know.
The highest bidder?
Most of the churches, the tower's 12th century.
Right.
This is 14th century, and this is roughly 15th.
Right.
At least the foundations of this bit of 15th.
I was right. I was looking outside. I've got a very good eye for detail, and I could see several restorations have taken place. You know, to the untrained eye, you just think it was just a church that was built all in one go. But now I'd have definitely thought that maybe the main base of the tower probably would have been Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, it's roughly 12th, 13th century.
Up to 1,000 years, up to even 1,200 years. with it being on such a location on a hilltop as
Yeah.
well, you've got a fantastic view surrounding valleys and areas here. It had been obviously they're protecting the settlement here. So I do think some of them may have been left by the Romans, you see, some
Yes.
of these the
As
towers.
far as we know, the tower was built in the Norman period. That's all.
Right.
We know there was nothing here in the Roman times.
So obviously they did the charter, the Doomsday Charter, surveyed all the land across Great Britain.
The oldest bit in this side is the thing next to the altar, which is called the piscina, and that's where the wine.
Is this stone here?
That's stone there. If you look at the top half of it, it's definitely Norman, but the bottom is Victorian. But it's been beautifully matched with the stone.
So what would this been used for?
This is for pouring away the communion wine after people have received it. It either has to be poured back into the ground or it has to be consumed. And that's basically what it is. It's basically a sink. And it's a soak away. It just
The
goes into the
oldest
ground.
sink I've ever touched. Well, you learn something new every day.
So, yeah, like I say, you can see the Victorians have rebuilt the bottom. One of the things with James Fowler, he did do a good job in a lot of senses because he did match with stone.
Yeah,
In other senses, he did a lot of things which he shouldn't have done.
I think it's not East Ravendale, St Andrews in near Louth, Loughborough. Is it Loughborough? I think.
No. Next to Little Grimsby.
Oh, yeah.
No, the one I've been to, I think St Andrews in Loughborough. They've got.
Oh, yeah, you did that
I was wondering,
yourself.
It's like built into the wall.
Yeah.
And I think it was from the Irby quarry, the chalk quarry.
Yeah.
So they've like sculptured some kind of, and I'm thinking it was some kind of sink. So I wonder if it's the same
Yeah.
where they've poured the wine in. Yeah, very interesting.
The east window, when we had the beast from the east, the window was badly damaged, and it was actually being held in by one piece of copper wire.
Wow.
And the glazier said that if one more gust like we just had, it was being out. So he took it away and cleaned it. And one of the things we discovered, which sadly you can't see now, but behind the figure of Christ, there's actually little faces of putty. But we didn't know they were there until the window had been cleaned.
So someone's
We all
faces
came.
in.
Yeah, it was cast with glass, but we didn't know they were there because of the dirt.
Oh.
And the window came up beautiful when it was all cleaned. The only problem with having it cleaned has made the other window look dirty.
Yeah, that's it, that's the thing. But throughout history, you know, we've had the Reformation, we've had the English Civil War, we've had the Norman invasion, we've had the Great Heathen Army from the Viking days, even World War One, or no, not World War One, World War Two. Is there any particular part of history where this has been desecrated during the Reformation or for any
As far as we know, that it could have been damaged during the Reformation. There's so many things we haven't got. For example, in the tower, we've actually got the remains of the rood screen.
So wow.
Which it's just a small fragment of the figure of Christ because it's on the tower wall.
Is that through there?
It's through there, yeah.
Can we have a look?
Yeah, I'll point it out to you. It was actually discovered by one of our vicars in the churchyard.
Because I know with him like going to war with the Catholic Church and the Vatican and the Pope, and he wanted to remarry, that any church that was making a significant amount of money that got turned down and then it was like remodelled into the Church of England.
So there it is.
Oh wow, yeah.
You can just make out the face.
Yeah, he's
And then
beard and he's
You can see the ribs here. So it would have come to about here, I reckon.
yeah.
And it would have been on the rood screen, which would have been across the chancel arch.
Oh, it's a shame that.
The story of it actually being rediscovered was one of the vicars we had in the early 20th century was a very keen amateur archaeologist. They were digging a new grave outside, and he saw just this bit poking through. And he was in there before anyone could stop him, and he straight to
Hello.
So, you know, that's probably the oldest thing we have.
Other than some of the archways, and so that could be Saxon then.
Yes,
quite
well,
possibly.
about there.
Ah. I see this young lady's just come here.
This is
so-
my aunt, she's the
Your
church
aunt?
warden.
Ah, hey, nice
What do
to
you
meet
do?
you. I'm Michael. I'm also known as BareFeats because I walk everywhere barefoot. So we've done a
I think
visit.
it might be frosty tonight.
It's going to be frosty, yeah. Just a bit. My hands are more cold than my feet, believe it or not.
Which of the...
There's a vicar in the area.
No. There's one of my godchildren, I think, used to go around barefoot.
Oh, I can't remember.
There was one child in the family who went everywhere barefoot.
Oh,
I don't know which one it was.
I was like that child, but I'd have known if I was related to you guys.
So how many years was you warden for?
Now, when did your grandma retire as church warden?
Let me think, I'm trying to think. 1998, 99.
So, off and on since then, basically.
No, so this is your auntie was talking
Yes.
about previously.
Yes.
Ah, that's an honour to meet such a...
I hope you're being nice to her.
He's been lovely, he's been such a gent. He's given us a little tour around inside and mostly talking about some of the history. And no, it's fantastic, it's a lovely church.
We do our best.
No, it's very good. We've been to so many where people really have lost interest in the running of the church.
There was somebody from the parish who was saying, oh, the whole place is filthy and a mess. Somebody who lives in the parish hasn't attended the church in years. I do think it's filthy and a mess.
No.
Although they-
yeah, so
although
is there
they
anything
are-
other part of the history you want to know?
Well, I think... oh yeah, when we was walking on the outside,
Yes.
we see the the gravestones laid up. I've never seen
Yeah.
that before.
Well, in the 70s, it was quite fashionable to clear churchyards, and unfortunately, that's one of the things my grandmother did as church warden. She had a lot of the gravestones cleared, especially from the East End. So where the green is now, that was part of the churchyard.
All right.
And somewhere in the 1940s, it was used as an allotment.
When people were desperate for food during the war.
Yeah.
And one of the people who had the allotment was the blacksmith who had the house opposite. And his children told me once, if they can remember, he wasn't just bringing up potatoes, but bits of people
Oh, wow.
with the potatoes. So it was a bit disconcerting. But most of the gravestones on that side were cleared. So we don't actually know where they're supposed to be in the churchyard, but they are.
Didn't they find some remains, in St Edmunds in Ryby? I do believe they found some from the English Civil War.
Yes.
Found some
Yes, there
remains
was a
in
battle at
that.
Ryby at one point.
Yeah, an unmarked grave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just, at the entrance into the church. I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a mass grave as you go in the church.
Who's the church
It's on the...
Who's the church warden?
Right, well, I can't remember.
Yeah, St Edmunds.
Yeah.
Lovely church.
I
Yeah.
was thinking, it was one of the places I know that, what was it?
That is gone blank.
Do you know anything about St Andrews? Is it Bilsby? Beelsby. They had a pathway full of gravestones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been done round.
Family.
Yeah, for some reason in the 70s it seemed to be fashionable to clear churchyards.
And that's
Easier to
why.
know.
And make it easier to
Yeah.
mow, obviously, and other things. And I don't approve.
No.
No, well, it's
I
like
mean-
I
rest
certainly
in
don't
peace.
approve. It's something that was done, but
I noticed at St Peter's in Cleethorpes, which was my church as a child, that my great grandfather's gravestone had been moved to the edge of the churchyard, I don't think it was just along a wall.
Because I didn't know till recently. You know the Cleethorpes St Peter's Church.
Yes.
Is it St Peter and Paul? No,
It's
St.
just
Peter's.
Peter's.
St Peter's. So
Yes.
that was built to commemorate. I think Cleethorpes was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was the 3 thoughts of Cleethorpes, all Itaby and Thurlscoe.
Yeah.
And the sort of little villages attached. And gradually the little villages became bigger than the parent village, so to speak. And the vicar at Old Clee decided that it was time to build a daughter church, to relieve so that people weren't having to walk quite so far to get to church, and I think possibly a counterblast to Methodism, which was very, very big in Cleethorpes.
Yes. They kind of branched off from Christianity.
Sorry, we're all Christians.
No. I know someone told me that Old Clee Church is one of the oldest churches actually in the area.
It is.
Yes.
It has probably one of the finest examples of a Norman tower.
It's
And it's definitely worth visiting. It's a lovely
It
church.
is.
I've been outside but not inside.
And they
It's
are.
quite difficult to get into. They keep it locked a great deal of the time. Which day is it that we discovered?
It's Wednesday mornings. It's usually open.
I'll have to go have a look.
Bit difficult when you got a job.
So do you know anything about St George's in Bradley as well? Because that
No, I
looks
don't know anything
tremendously old, that
Yeah.
one.
I don't know much about that.
No, I think I've been to a service there. It might have had something to do with the days of Humberside County Council. I think I went there with Grandad.
I've got a lead for that anyway.
Sorry?
I've got a lead for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see
Parish
the corner
Council.
of my eye there. If it was a woman in white, and then I look round, it was yeah, very peculiar. But,
He sees ghosts, I don't.
yeah, as you say,
You must
because
see
there's
some
definitely
ghosts.
something there. I'm very in tune with spirit.
Yeah, well, I've been in this church alone, and sometimes I've seen one of our past vicars up by the altar. Again, out the corner of my eye. When I turn to face him, he's just vanished into thin air. But he's usually round at that top end of the church, and he wears a beretta. He was very high church. This is back in the 30s, I think. He was vicar. 30s.
That's sidearm, isn't it? A Beretta? A pistol?
No,
It's a
no.
hat.
Ah, I thought you meant
yeah.
there is a blue set.
Yes, there
Yeah,
is.
like I say, I sometimes see him up by the altar and just occasionally down on the chancel step, but I never see him full on.
No.
And sometimes I'm just aware that he's there.
Now, one of our more recent vicars his wife used to see.
Yes. George,
Yes.
George's wife did. Okay, Joyce.
Joyce, thank you.
She saw him once, and I think it quite spooked her out. Yeah, it is strange.
I do believe that a lot of these historical churches are all built on ley lines, energy lines. So,
I mean, the weird experience I ever had was actually in Waverley Old Church. I walked up to the church to go in to have 5 minutes to myself, and I heard, and I pushed on the door, a Latin Mass. But when I opened it, there was nothing there. Really strange feeling, but yeah.
yeah, I do believe in the unseen, obviously, the spirit world.
Well, there's that weird experience you had in the hall.
Oh yeah, that's strange.
We're going to have to come back here in the spring and spend a coffee morning with them and have a good yarn, you know.
Yeah, the coffee morning's definitely worth coming to on a Thursday morning. There's always something going on. They always have a quiz.
Usually.
Have a quiz, and it's just a nice, relaxed atmosphere.
And Cathy seems to have a very good source of quizzes, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, I'll leave, thank you. I got a bonus from an interview with your lovely aunt there, so, oh, thank you. So, yeah, happy with that? Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you. Remember to take care of yourselves and each other. God bless.